looking through my videos, it occurred to me that this is something I should potentially cover. I have done videos on what to do once you get to a bug out location. I've done multiple videos on militia mobilization, how to do it, what to do when it happens, actions after it happens, and so forth. But I never did a video on you're going to bug out because something just happened. So that's what this video is. So it's going to fall under the SHTF post-event videos. The SHTF event has just happened. So let's get you into that mindset. Boom! Weapons fire is going on outside. Fucking window just blew in. Your co-workers just took a fucking round straight to the head and his fucking head blew apart right in front of you. You got sprayed with brains. What the fuck are you gonna do? You don't know what's happening. First off, don't freak out. Keep your goddamn head. If you freak out, you're fucking dead. Keep that in mind. Keep your cool. Assess the situation. If you are in immediate danger at that time, get the fuck out of the area. Move to some area where it's safe. And while you're doing that, get as much information as you can. You're not going to be able to jump on the internet. You're not going to be able to Google what just occurred in buttfuck USA outside the GM building headquarters. Assess as you're going along. Who's pulling the shots? Is this a mass shooter event, an active shooter, or is something else going on? Get a look outside. Is there other people being gunned down outside? Do you see other explosions going on, especially out in the distance? Do you see aircraft flying overhead, dropping rounds on people's foreheads? Do these people that you see around you, do they look like they are your military? Do they look like they're a foreign military? How did they get there? Information you should be getting is what happened? Where did it happen? How close? If you're at home and it happens in the middle of the city, you're out in the suburbs, or you're in a small town out in the country, that's going to afford you a little bit more time, but do not waste it. How far away was the event? Are you right next to it, or do you got a little bit of time that you can get better prepared? Who is doing it? What is happening? Who's doing the attack? What just occurred? Maybe the economy just took a giant dump and everyone's freaking the fuck out. You got bank runs and people are looting stores. Well, that's your SHTF event. Who caused it? Doesn't matter at that point. What matters is who is the threat. And it's anyone who's as scared as you are or more scared. What is the current situation around me at this time? What's happening? Was I in that office when that explosion went off, blew in the windows, and then someone started shooting into the building? Or am I a county over? Or is it in the next state over? Do not waste more than a couple minutes getting your bearings and getting your nerves together and figuring out what to do. You should already have an emergency plan on what you're going to do if something happens. If you don't have that, make it today as soon as you're done watching this. Because when it occurs, it's too fucking late and you're going to fucking die. Let's be serious. You're dead fucking meat, you're a goddamn loot drop at that point for those people that are taking you out or who are looting the area. So, our first step, assess the situation. I told you some things to look for. Next, once you're in a safe location, contact family and your group. If you're able to, the phones may be getting blocked. There may have been an EMP, who knows? But if you can, contact your family. Contact your group. Do not waste time while doing this. you can make contact while you're doing the other steps. Gather supplies. First off, your priority should be weapon and ammunition. If it's a fucking bow, a goddamn crossbow, you need the arrows for them. But you really should have a firearm, and you should have ammo for it. You should have the magazines for it. If you're at work, that attack happened, you come across a dead enemy soldier there, or a dead attacker, take their fucking weapon, and remember, take the goddamn ammo from their pouches. Don't just run off with that rifle, with that submachine gun, that shotgun, that pistol. Because for all you know, the reason he's dead is because he fired his last goddamn round. Get the extra ammo. Put it in your fucking pockets. Toss your goddamn checkbook on the floor or whatever else that's in your pockets taking up fucking room. Shove that ammo in there. Next, water. You'll die of dehydration before you're going to fucking starve to death. Get water. And then while you're doing that, also gather food. Preferably shelf-stable stuff. Things that do not require refrigeration. After you start getting a hold of some food, or while you're doing it, you're also gathering survival gear. You're going to need a bag to toss all that stuff in. You should look at first aid kit. Any first aid supplies you can come across. Fucking antibiotics, bandages, whatever. Get that in there. Also, something to cover yourself with while you're sleeping. Depending on the time of year, you may need inclement weather gear. You may need rain gear. You may need a snow jacket, winter jacket. You may need boots. Gather the stuff that you're going to need to survive. And don't forget something to prepare your food with and eat it with. A fucking paper plate and a set of plastic utensils is really only good for one goddamn meal. Get yourself a small pan, a mess kit if you can get it, or you already got it. Fucking metal spoon and fork at a minimum. For shelter, you can live out underneath a tarp. But if you're going to use a tarp, you're going to need some cordage to tie it off, won't you? After that stuff, you got the basic things to stay alive. You got water, you got food, you got basic survival gear, you got a weapon. That's when it's going to be time for tactical equipment. The body armor, the helmet, your fancy fucking pouches, whatever it is. Grabbing that pair of night vision. Whatever. Only grab that shit after you got the other stuff. Hopefully you're smart enough, you already have a pre-packed bug-out bag for every member of your family or your group, and everything's ready to go. But if you don't, you're running around trying to get the shit together. Now you at least got an idea of what to prioritize. Now after you got your, or while you're gathering your supplies, you are moving to link up. You are going to the kids' school to pick up your kids. Okay? Your wife is maybe picking up the kids from another school that's closer to her. Whoever's the closest goes and gets the goddamn kids. Or if you were smart and talked to your kids about planning ahead, maybe you've given them a rally point off of campus, out of the school, that they can meet you up at. You get to that point and you look for them there. If they are not there, that's when you travel the route that you've talked to them about on what they're going to use to get there. You're going to travel along that route to that school to get those kids. Now, if you're in a militia, the event has occurred, you're evacuating your family because it's going on in your area. You get to your link up, you're meeting up with other members of your group before you go on to the rally point for your unit. You're linking up with the people closest to you. Safety in numbers. And the more people you have, the more backs and hands to carry shit to keep you alive after you get to your bug out location or your rally point. Now, after we got our link up, we've linked up with everybody or we've confirmed that they're dead, you got to keep that into account. There's a possibility you may show up at the school and find the school is fucking flattened. There isn't one rock on top of another. It's just a pile of fucking rubble. Be realistic. If you don't see your kid around the area, they probably got squished and killed inside. Spend a few minutes to look around, but don't waste fucking time. Do not endanger everyone else's lives. Movement. You've done your link up. You're now moving to your bug out location or your rally point for your group. Whatever you have according to your plan. The event is still going on around you. Make sure 360 know what's going on around you at all fucking times. If you see a roadblock ahead, take a fucking side road. Go around it. Depending on what the roadblock is, the size of your vehicle, maybe ram the motherfucker at a point on that roadblock where it's not going to disable your vehicle, but will allow you to get through it. Example, if someone parks a vehicle across the roadway, just the one, and they sit there behind it shooting at you, tell everyone inside your vehicle, get the fuck down, and try to hit that vehicle at the rear. Try to just glance it, just impact it a little bit so that you can flip that vehicle, and hopefully as that vehicle is spinning, it is taking out the ambushers that were hiding behind that roadblock. Buying you additional time to, once you're through that roadblock, stomp on the fucking gas and get away from that situation. Be careful when you take turns going around corners that you don't go so fast you flip your vehicle, and you don't want to get around that vehicle and then, or that corner, and find out you just drove right into a fucking ambush, right into a roadblock, and there's no way that you can maneuver your way out. Be careful going around corners. Try to always maintain vision as to what the hell is going on ahead of you. Now, maybe you pick up a few others on the way, whatever your plan is. But you get to your rally point. You get to your bug out location. That's when you start to take a breather, but only take a few minutes. Get your shit out of your vehicle. Get it onto your backs or whatever. Move into your bug out location. When you're in there, start inventorying what you brought with you, what you have with you, and continue to assess the information. While you're driving, if there's still radios on, listen to the fucking radio. Listen to the goddamn news reports. Maybe you're going to find out more info as to what's occurring. Inventory what you got. Find out what you're short on. You're not going to have a very long window to acquire it. Assess the situation. Find out what's going on. Do you need to move farther away from where the event happened? Like you're escaping fallout. Assess your situation, adjust your plan accordingly. And then once you get to the area where, you know, everything is safe, and be realistic on this, that's when you're going to begin your operations. By begin operations, I mean you're setting up your bug out location for long-term occupation now. Or you are beginning resistance operations. Always remember, maintain security and secrecy. If you're bugging out and someone's asking you, hey, where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? Tell them, fuck you, I ain't saying nothing, or don't reply at all, and just keep going. The only people that need to know that information are the people you trust. Now, you may pick up one or two along the way you're not sure about, who are fleeing, that you're just trying to bring them out with you so that they stay alive because of the particular situation. Don't let them know where you're going until after you're there, because you don't know fully yet if you can trust them. But right now I want everyone to think of this situation. Event happens. What plan do you have? Are you at work? You at home? How far away it is? How prepared are you? Ideally, you have your bug out bags packed. You have magazines packed on that plate carrier next to that bug out bag. You got a couple cases or jugs of water next to that bug out bag. You have a weapon locked up near that bug out bag. So that all you got to do is get to the location where that stuff is at when you're gathering supplies and you're doing your link ups. You grab it, throw it in your vehicle, and Charlie Mike, taking no more than a few seconds. Now, if you are at home, this shit happens. You got a little bit of time. It wasn't right at your property. It's farther into the city. One thing that I know, I think I've mentioned it in the past, members of my group, there is one family that they do little exercises with their kids. They have a pantry which has canned goods, dried goods, some sodas, juices, and that stuff there, bottles of water. Also inside that pantry, hanging on the wall, are reusable grocery bags, the cloth ones. So what they tell the kids, event has happened, start getting ready. Those kids then go through, they know, hey, we're grabbing the soups, we're grabbing the ramen noodles, we're grabbing those jars of peanut butter, grabbing those cans of Spam, you know, tossing in some of the juices and all that stuff, the sodas and everything. And then as the bag's full, they're setting it by the door so that mom and dad can grab that and go toss it in the SUV. While mom and dad are grabbing those bug out bags, tossing them in there too. And then maybe grabbing some cases of MREs to toss in there. And then they keep going till they run out of bags or time is up. And then they look at how much did they get during that time period. And what did they get? Would they be able to have decent meals off of what they were able to get a hold of? Things to think about. Make sure, talk with your family members, set up those rally points, those link-up points. Something happens at that school, where's those kids supposed to go to escape that school shooter or some other event? If something happens at your work and you work in the same location as your spouse, where have you arranged to meet at? Where's your primary link-up point? Where's your secondary and your tertiary? Have more than one, just in case. With that final rally point being the vehicle that you drove to get there. Have a communications plan with your family. If someone has a cell phone, that fucking cell phone needs to be on and at least, you know, the vibrate on that phone so that calls can go through to warn someone that something happened. Don't turn it off unless you absolutely have to. There you go. Things for you to think about, things for you to war game for yourself, your family, your group. What are you going to do if the event happens that second? Once you get away from it. Once you get to your safe area. That's when those other plans that you've worked on start kicking in. Now, for all my engineer brothers in the Patriot and militia movements, always remember SA-ONS.